As billions of American tax dollars are spent funding the United Nations, the UN is giving out cash debit cards to U.S.-bound migrants, some receiving about $400 every 2 weeks. In other words, American taxpayers are helping to fund illegal immigration across the U.S. southern border. The cash cards are provided by UN-funded nonprofits in cities on the well-traveled routes from Latin America through Mexico. The payments are supposed to help with housing, transport, and medical assistance. The United Nations says the payments are for migrants who are seeking asylum in Mexico. But Todd Bensman, the author of America's Covert Border War and a senior national security fellow at the Center for Immigration Studies, or CIS, doesn't think that's the case.
None of these migrants plan to stay in Mexico. Nobody came for the great Mexican dream. They came for the great American dream. And the proof in the pudding are cards like this that are recoverable, thousands of them, in debris fields all along the Mexican and American side of the Rio Grande. These, if they get caught with these, are going to go against their asylum claims in the United States.
In an interview with Bensman, Vidal went on to say that the United Nations pays psychologists to help migrants dig up repressed memories of torture, persecution, and human rights violations after they are denied asylum. But he says that after the migrants receive the UN-funded psychological help, they have about a 90% chance of success when seeking asylum the second time in southern Mexico. And after approval, most head straight to the U.S. border, where they cross illegally and claim asylum again.
So all the training that they're getting is basically coaching what not to say. And they told me that. We have to de-emphasize the economic needs and emphasize the new memories of these persecutions. It's absurd. And the American taxpayers picking up the tab.
Several Republican lawmakers are planning to introduce a bill to defund the United Nations over activities they regard as aiding and abetting illegal immigration. Jason Perry, NTD News.
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The clip that I just showed you, was put out by a gentleman by the name of Jason Perry, and it was on X. This video was put out in January 24th of 2022. And as you can see, there is a lot more going on than people coming from all these countries claiming asylum. Because basically, they should be claiming asylum in the next country that they enter, but they make it all the way down to Mexico. And instead of claiming asylum in Mexico, the UN and the Democrat Party, and the powers that be, are actually helping them to get into the United States. So this whole fiasco that's been going on about that people are coming straight to America seeking asylum, they're coming straight to America. But they're going through so many different countries where they can claim asylum, and knowing very well that once they get some type of funding in Mexico that is provided by the UN, they cannot make it into America unless certain people, certain organizations help them, which that's what they've been doing. There's a lot to unravel on this, because I found out some more information, and some information that came out 2 days ago, put out by Forbes, that it's not cut and dry, them just giving them debit cards with money on it. No, they're actually putting American taxpayer money together to basically coach them and mail them packets on basically how to run the system, how to get over and through the system in order to make it into the United States. So we're going to get into all that, and I also have a clip that I want to touch again on what's going on with the illegal migrant gangs that are entering Chicago and the gangs that are there. I want to touch that again towards the ending of the video, so stay tuned for that. And there's something else that I need to show you guys also, so please stick with the video. But before we continue, I just two things. First thing, the last video that I put out 2 days ago, okay, I put it out Sunday, I believe, Sunday or Monday, and it went through. There was no problem. And then I got a notification from YouTube saying that in the video there is some background music that was playing from like the 15-20 minute mark up until past like the 20-minute mark, okay, and you can hear the music in the background. So they gave me the option, 3 different options. One was to cut it out, okay, the whole thing. One was to appeal it and find out if I have any grounds on keeping it, or another option was to let YouTube delete the background music, okay, because it had a content ID claim on it, and the video will proceed as usual. I'll be monetized. So I opted for that. Okay, you know, take out the background music. Lo and behold, they basically destroyed the video, if anybody's watched it, because not only did they delete the background music for those 5.5 minutes, they also deleted all the audio of the people that were being interviewed in Chicago. So I reached out to YouTube and asked them, and they said, unfortunately, that the way the music was looped into the video, it basically deleted the audio also. So I'm not going to say I'm pissed off about it, but it's disheartening because I took so much time to put that video together. It's a 51-minute video, and the 5-minute video that's explaining what's going on in Chicago is null and void. It's no good. So to me, it makes my video look bad. I had nothing to do with that. I even put a disclaimer on the video in the description when I found out. And basically, there's really nothing I could do about that. So it is what it is. I apologize. If anybody goes back to watch the video, if you're a new viewer, I'm explaining what happened. I had nothing to do with that. My thing with that, the reason why I'm disheartened about that is because, you know, we get a lot of our content from different social media platforms, okay? YouTube being the number one. And if somebody's going to put out content, I get it. But that piece of content that I you know, I did a reaction on, it's on different channels, okay? I don't know how they got away with the music, whatever the case is. Okay, maybe they're going to get the same notification. YouTube told me it was going to take about 30 days before I get any kind of feedback, which I'm not going to wait that long because, you know what, I wasn't the one that recorded it. I was just doing a reaction on it. But and I totally respect everybody's copyright and content IDs and all that. But here's my thing: if you're trying to spread awareness, okay, you need to understand that you're not the only person that's trying to spread awareness. Others are taking from each other's content and try to spread it out because one individual content creator, okay, does not reach out to the tens of millions of people. Okay? Because if I put out a piece of content that's originally mine, I'm not going to put any content claims on it because I want people to be able to use it and push it out. What I would expect is for somebody to say, listen, this came from this, and this. Granted. But this whole thing about, you know, my content being, my video being basically destroyed because of some background music, why would you put background music if you're trying to explain what's going on with the chaos in Chicago? I mean, no offense, but a lot of times background music is just overrated. And a lot of times the background music that's being used on videos drowns out the audio. So to me, it's just, I think it's asinine to even do that. And then, you know, say that you're on the side of spreading awareness, but now I can't even, you know, do the same thing, you know, because they wind up deleting that. So those are just my thoughts. I just wanted to throw that in there because I just found it, you know, I found it very disheartening. Like I said, you know, it wasn't easy putting a 51-minute video together. You know, it takes time. And I'm doing this while I'm working. You know, I should say after I get out of work. But it is what it is for now. And with that being said, before we get to the video, I just want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. And again, I'll be leaving a link to Loza Alexander's Gifts and Go campaign. If anybody can help, please do, and or leave them words of encouragement and prayer. It's all greatly appreciated. So, you heard what they said on the video, okay? How the powers that be and the UN are in cahoots, okay, with this whole asylum agenda, asylum seeking agenda that's going on. That's basically hitting the Western world, okay? And I think it's disgusting, but there's some other information. So I got this video because I was doing some research and I came across this article by American Military News. Okay, so I'm going to read this article real quick, and then I'm going to show you another piece of video that's going to be very interesting, because that video that I showed you came out in 2022. Okay, this article, don't know what the timestamp on it is, but I mean, it's neither here nor there. But it says the United Nations is providing money and asylum stories to migrants bound for the United States. As updated, U.S. Customs and Border Protection (CBP) data shows another month of staggering numbers of illegal migrants arrested at the U.S.-Mexico border. According to multiple reports from the Center for Immigration Studies last week, the United Nations Refugee Agency (UNHCR), which receives billions from U.S. taxpayers, is giving hundreds of thousands of U.S. bound immigrants cash debit cards and other funds for prescription medication, lodging, and travel. Okay? Billions, people. And this is not the billions that all the blue cities that are giving them also. Okay? This is a multi-billion-dollar money laundering scheme, in my opinion. Okay? I'm sorry I keep looking back. I just dealing with something. But it says the report shows that migrant families have received as much as $400 every 15 days for unrestricted, unconditional use. CIS fellow Todd Bensman visited U.S. offices in Mexico, where he filmed and spoke to migrants who were waiting to apply for debit cards from the UN. Okay, so this whole thing about the UN saying that, you know, America's got to, you know, come into the UN so like that we can help out the world. It's all BS. It's all bullshit. And once again, Trump was right for wanting to have restrictions, okay, and trying to pull out and fix things so like that America is not beholden into paying billions of dollars into the UN just so the UN can take it and have not only illegal migrants come from different countries through Mexico into America, but also including criminals. Okay, and in my opinion, this is why I get so upset when people on the left, and I'm not talking to politicians because the politicians know what the hell they're doing, when voters on the left think that what they're doing is being on the right side of history. Okay, but it says, where was I? Okay. Another report stated that at least 2 United Nations nonprofits are paying clinical psychologists to help migrants recover repressed memories of government persecution and other hardship stories that qualify migrants for Mexican asylum and a residence card as they head to the U.S.-Mexico border. You know, I find it totally pisses me off, because this definitely is something that the left likes to do. Okay? They like to make everybody the victim and pull things from the past in order to keep them as victims. What about the victims in America? What about the victims as of present time right now? What about their memories? Okay? All the victims that have been raped and or killed by illegal migrant criminals, where is the help for the families? They're being pushed to the side. Okay? But yet you have these officials out there helping people from other countries and helping them to relive traumas just to say, well, you know what? That's the asylum, you know, that's going to be their asylum card. Because we know how to trigger their memories. I'm telling you, it's evil and it's diabolical, man. But let's continue. It says the coordinator for the Frei Matias Cordoba Human Rights Center, Enrique Vidal, said the UN is paying the psychologists to recover memories of torture, persecution, and human rights violations after the migrants are initially denied asylum as part of an effort to reverse the decision. Okay. The most common mistakes migrants make during interviews is that they are saying that they are suffering economic hardships. It's not one of the criteria for refugee status. Vidal told the Center for Immigration Studies in Tapachula that may cover up to one of the true reasons why they are coming. They need psychological help so they can remember the situation they experienced. So in other words, all right, we understand that you've had a hard life, in your country. We get that. There's people born and raised in America that they're born into poverty and they die in poverty. Okay? Nobody's doing these favors for them. But the powers that be and the damn Biden administration, okay, sets up all these organizations to go, in cahoots with the UN and says, you know what? We need psychologists so that they could remember something that happened when they were 5 years old. Okay, and that's going to help them to give them status to get through Mexico into the U.S. I'm telling you, I always thought that the Obama administration was the worst. This administration, by far, forget about Obama 2.0. Okay, this administration has their own damn encyclopedia of books on how to screw over the American people and humans around the world. But let's continue. Vidal said the migrants who use the recovered memories technique during asylum interviews with Mexican immigration officials see a 90% approval rate. 90%. So they went from basically almost 0 to 90%. That's the most important part of the process. That's when the Mexican authorities listen to the motives of why they left their country. And those motives have to be according to international conventions, Vidal said. For example, if they have an economic need, that's not necessarily one of the requirements. However, once we do our interview with them, we find out that they did suffer some type of violence or persecution or anything that qualifies as refugees. We tell them to emphasize those. And people keep saying that Trump and the Republicans are up to no good. It's like, really? Look at what's going on here. It says the reports come after the Biden administration recorded 1.7 million illegal immigration arrests at the U.S.-Mexico border in fiscal year 21. The rate of illegal immigration shows no signs of slowing down. Just 3 months into fiscal year 2022, Biden's CPB has already recorded over 500,000 illegal immigrant arrests, including 178,840 in December alone. Okay, and that's the end. That's the end of the article right there. It's funny, like I keep saying in a lot of my videos, the Democrats do so much dirt that it just keeps coming out more and more and more, okay? And it is getting to the point that you truly don't even have to, really dig deep, okay? All you got to do is punch in on the internet, on Google, illegal immigration update, and you will see, massive shit pop up, okay? Stuff that the mainstream media is not putting out. But yet, you have Kamala Harris on the campaign trail telling Americans that she's gonna tell companies that are selling groceries and stuff they need to stop price gouging. All the while, they're taking billions of dollars in cahoots with the UN just to help more illegals make it into America, and then even giving them more once they come to America. All taxpayer money. All of it U.S. taxpayer money. Disgusting. Unbelievable and disgusting. But looking up this article, okay, I came across another video that came out 2 days ago by Forbes, okay, and you got to see that this was back in 2021, 2022. It hasn't stopped. And this is why there are so many more illegals, okay, coming into the country, and the Democrats are trying to hide it. But let's continue. This came out by Forbes 2 days ago, and I don't know if anybody knows Darrell Issa. I believe he's from California. I get the state wrong, but he's drilling one of another Biden appointee. Okay, listen to what's going on here. Here we go. And you won't hear this. You haven't seen this on the mainstream media. This is what really pisses me off. But check this out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, you've had a distinguished career, your career, foreign service, but your department is responsible for giving us knowingly false information. And I want to just go over it quickly. As the committee did its oversight over the PRM's assistance, we were told, and I'd asked that she be given copies of this, and I'll ask that it all be placed in the record. And I'll quote, this was in January of 2023, and again in December of 2023. Legal assistance, PRM, has not funded and does not fund legal representation or counseling related to immigration proceedings. Again, later in December, from the government of Mexico, PRM does not fund legal representation or counseling related to U.S. immigration proceedings, and legal assistance provided to those in Mexico is solely for the Mexican legal processes. At this moment, under, I think here I say it right, under the rules of Title 18 or U.S. 18, Title 1001, is that a true statement, either of those?
Congressman, PRM funds.
Ma'am, that's a yes or no. It really is. Are those true statements?
Yes.
Okay. Then if you'd please give her a copy of this. Are you aware of this packet that was used throughout 2023?
Yes.
Does it limit to legal activities in Mexico, or does it on pages 9, 10, and 11 clearly advise people on how to get asylum in the U.S.?
This packet of information, Congressman, was not funded by PRM. It was funded by the UN Refugee
Was this
Agency.
organization at this time under funding from the United States?
The organization was. This packet was not produced
Okay,
with
so
U.S. funding.
one of the problems with
This is what really freaking pisses me off with these Democrats. They put such a damn spin on everything. This is what I'm saying. This is why I keep telling people, this is a giant freaking money laundering scheme. Because what they do, they take billions of dollars, they put it into all these other organizations. Those organizations keep funneling it to other organizations until it reaches its objective, okay? And then they try to hide behind all that, as anybody's ever heard the term plausible deniability, to say, well, that's by them. Yeah, but who's giving them the money? Well, the money's been given by this one, but who's giving that person? So who's giving that person the money? And it goes on and on and on. And when it makes this full freaking circle, it comes right back to the Biden administration giving billions of dollars to all these organizations, and they just keep funneling it, and it all ends up helping illegal immigrants get into America. You know, it's so infuriating. It's so it pisses me off so damn much. It's like, why aren't people going to fucking prison over this? Let's continue.
the title I mentioned to you is that it makes it a crime to use tricks or mislead. Were you aware of this activity under other funds while you were funding this organization?
Congressman, this slide deck and these briefings were begun before I was confirmed as Assistant
Ma'am,
Secretary.
they were going on during these days of those statements. Right in the middle of it, the packet says May of 2023 was the revision. I'm going to go back to the original question because I think it's the most important question for you today as a Senate confirmed officer. Were you aware of this packet?
I became aware of the packet when we were producing documents for the Congress in response to their requests. I had not seen it before
what
then.
disciplinary actions or other activities do you envision when Congress has been told something in writing that is untrue, and then you discover this?
Congressman, again, I repeat, this packet was not funded by PRM. We became aware of it when the...
Ma'am,
Wow.
I'm going to make something
Wow.
very clear to you.
Unbelievable.
The intent of Congress is not to use the fungibility of money to give an organization that goes out with the people that you are funding, and those people and that organization do something inconsistent with what you tell Congress and what your mandate is. Money's fungible. As long as you give to this organization, which I understand you're still funding around the world, and they have a dual purpose, and they use that dual purpose to do something that Congress clearly doesn't want. Nowhere in this deck, we'll call it UN funded for a moment just to humor you, nowhere in this deck does it suggest that you can seek refuge in Mexico, which under international law, you have not only a right to, but an obligation to. Isn't it true?
And not only that, you heard on the last video that the UN says that they were giving migrants, okay, money to find sanctuary, not in America, but in Mexico, in other countries, okay? But then America steps in and says, that's all fine and good, but now we're going to add some more money to it, and we're going to add how they can get into America. Okay? And once again, you have Kamala Harris on the campaign trail wanting to be president. Okay? Instead of her taking care of something like this, well, I mean, that's reaching for nothing. But it's like they run these games, and all they know how to do, they play this word salad as if the American people, as if people are just stupid. This is why I'm saying that people need to go to prison. They need to be locked up and go to prison for treason. Straight up treason.
Under international law, that every refugee in Mexico, if they're not Mexican, is by definition eligible to seek refuge there, and Mexico is at least one of the countries before the United States. So at a time in which every individual handed this had traveled into Mexico, a country that would have required visas if they, and or a claim of asylum to let them in, they were allowed in only because your organizations, along perhaps with the UN, was in fact funding their trip to the United States. In other words, you were part of conduiting people to circumvent international law. Every one of those people, Haitian, Chinese, whatever, you're so proud of helping, had a right, and Mexico had an obligation. We circumvented that at federal taxpayers' expense so they could come to the United States, where we are spending $150 billion a year in support of them. Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions.
Unbelievable. So an extra $150 billion the federal government is spending to basically lie to America, get more illegals into the country, okay, and then give more money to all the sanctuary cities and states while they're using more taxpayer money, and then throw more money on top of that and just keep it going and going and going. And yet they're saying that they're doing everything possible, and that's not the case. That they're doing everything possible to keep the border closed, and what everybody's thinking is not the case. Once again, don't believe your lying eyes or ears. Don't even believe people in Congress. Okay? Don't even believe the whistleblowers. And once again, the Democrats do something where Republicans come, and not only Republicans, civilians come and bring receipts, and the Democrats just don't care. This is what I'm saying. They are evil, man. They're helping illegal criminals. Never mind the people that truly need help. They're literally helping illegal criminals, gang members and criminals, murderers, rapists, drug dealers, you name it. They're helping them get into the United States. Incredible. Okay? And then a Senate-appointed person, like he said, okay, is going to sit there and still try to spin it around as if, well, but we have nothing to do with that. Meanwhile, they do. Because they're putting money in one organization, passing it to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, thinking that that's the way they're not going to leave a paper trail. But it all goes back to A. Before it gets to Z, it all goes back to A. And those are the ones that are in power right now. The Democrats. Man, I'm telling you, Donald Trump cannot come into the White House any sooner. And I'll tell you another thing. Those 75,000 IRS agents that Biden put money to the side to hire, I think Donald Trump needs to fire all of them, keep that money, and hire 75,000 more people to go around and start arresting all these political officials. That's what he should do. That's where he should start. Okay? And then use them to go round up all the illegal criminals first and get rid of them. Get the crime off the streets. Slingshot their asses across the damn border once again. Plain and simple. Okay? And then put those agents on the border to protect the border. Okay? And you wouldn't even need 75,000. Believe me. I'm getting heated here. But anyway, that's what I got on that. I'm going to play a clip about, an updated clip about what's going on in Chicago. And the reason why I'm playing it was because of one, so we can catch up, and two, the guy in the first video that I played 2 days ago, it was his voice and all that was muted. So now he's talking to Fox 5 about what's going on. So let's get to that. Here we go.
So Venezuelan gang members moving into Chicago have caught the attention of the city's local counterparts, bringing tensions to an all-time high. Our next guest is a former gang member who now runs a violence prevention program and warns that the city may go up in flames, fearing an all-out turf war. Tyrone Muhammad is the founder and CEO of Ex-Cons for Community and Social Change, and he's been kind enough to join us. Now, Tyrone, thanks so much for joining the program. So let's first, before we get into the criminal element, talk about the money that's being spent, because I know you talk about the community and building those black communities and Hispanic communities in Chicago that were affected before this crisis. They're spending $464 million on this crisis. Can y'all be using that money somewhere else?
You know, I don't know any household, Lawrence, where you yourself would pay my mortgage before you pay your own.
Exactly.
That would be considered crazy. So that's the very fact that our government believe, with all the issues and systemic disinvestment that's happening to all these communities throughout America, that you were in our face when, specifically Chicago, where black voters have voted for one party consistently and religiously, that party would not listen to the voters or the community to say, us first, we should be first, put us first. And the very notion that anyone would have the audacity to think that non-citizens should go before the black community and the most impoverished communities is asinine.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a slap in the face. So that's the first part of this problem. The second problem is that you got the gangs that are coming in now. Trinidad de Agua is now fighting with the local gangs, and this is on top of an already problem right now. You got robbery that's up 12%, aggravated battery is up 13%, motor vehicle theft is up 43%, and you invited them in to go against now the local.
And I'm glad he brought that up. But once again, during the presidential debate, Kamala Harris came out and said that the FBI said that crime is down nationwide, and Trump was right again. He says they said that, but they left out all the crime that's happening in the blue states and blue cities. If they were to put that factor into the equation, I mean, you would see that crime is skyrocketing all throughout the nation. But let's continue.
Local gangs are already in Chicago. Explain to us what's happening on the ground.
So let me just say this. We just heard about a vice president who said she specialized in locking up and arresting transnational gangs, while the very party that she's a part of, the policies with the sanctuary cities and the border crisis she supports. And now the influx of it is, which is oxymoronic at the same time. Now we have to fight transnational gangs and the influx of these men who we don't know where they come, what crimes they committed, and the violence that they've been involved with thus far. With that being said, we are on the front line every day, making sure that our communities are safe. And it's really not about the black community. This is just the beginning. Because violence anywhere is violence everywhere.
There you go.
America should be afraid that this can happen in American cities.
And I'm so glad he said that. He said this is not just about the black community. This is about America. And that is the truth. This is about America. Okay? But you'll have the Democrat Party, okay, when somebody wants to bring this up, and come out and use the black community, but yet they disenfranchise the black community. They always use the black and Latino community, but look at what they're doing to the black and Latino community, and look at how it's affecting America as a whole. Okay? I am so glad this man brought that up.
One of the biggest cities, one of the biggest tourist attracting cities in the country, that we can watch this happen all over the country and not be outraged. And this is the policies, sir. This is what I'm saying, Lawrence. It's the policies that has affected our community and has turned black people, black communities against the current administration.
You know, Tyrone, you hit it on the head. Just because they invited them into our communities to stay, took our resources in black America, that doesn't mean that the criminal element is not going to spread nationwide. And you've been on the front line of this. I look forward to having you back, Tyrone. Thank you so much. I'll
leave it at that, but it's true. You know, even if they come out and try to pander to the black community for the vote and get rid of the migrants, it's not about it's about getting rid of them, but sending them back across the border, not shifting them to a different area of the country. That's not how you do it. All you're doing is just spreading the chaos. But that's what the Democrats do. That's what they like. That's what they're all about. They don't care about America. They don't care about Americans. They don't care about their constituents. And they sure as shit don't care about illegal immigrants or human life for that matter. Okay, because if they did, they would just stop the BS and just send these people back and try to bring some kind of normalcy and take all that money that they've been spending and that they've already allocated that they want to spend, okay, pull that money back out of the UN the way Trump did and spend it on the American taxpayers. They're the ones that took it, that it was taken out of their pocket. It should go back to them, their communities, to the country, to the states, to the neighborhoods, okay? It's funny how you can't build up in one of these blue cities, you can't build up a school that is dilapidated because you say you don't have the funding, but yet you come up with more funding to have more school resources so you can start teaching illegal immigrant kids in school. That's just one of the moronic things, and it's not even moronic what they're doing. Okay, you got to be a moron in order for it to be moronic. No, that is one of the most treasonous things, in my opinion, that they're doing. Okay, and yet Kamala Harris wants to go out there and the mainstream media wants to say that, oh, now she's way ahead of Trump. No, people are waking up. Okay, people are waking up, and Trump has been saying it on the campaign trail that come day one, it is going to be the biggest illegal immigration roundup, basically, to start sending them back. Okay, the biggest deportation campaign. And it should be like that. It should. But at the same time, people need to be held accountable. All these people, like I showed you in the first video, these people that are being nominated by the Senate and they're passing money to NGOs and all these little private organizations, those people need to start being rounded up and arrested. Okay? For crimes against humanity and for treason against the United States and its people. People have to go to prison. It's just the way it's got to be, because this has to stop. Okay, too much blood has been shed. And another thing, this whole thing about things brewing in Chicago, listen, I don't live there, okay? The people need to protect themselves and all that. But like I said in my other video, okay, the one I put out 2 nights ago, that if I had to guess, this is one of the catalysts that the Democrats and the powers that be want. They want the chaos in the streets. Okay? Just remember, cooler heads will prevail. Okay? Cooler heads will prevail. I mean, I can't tell anybody they can't protect the neighborhood, because I know if it was my neighborhood, I'd be right on the front line myself. But you got to do it a certain way where, you know what, because just by looking at the way Democrats are doing it, they'll go and arrest the people that are trying to protect their neighborhoods. Believe me when I tell you, over the illegal migrant that's causing crime. We hear the stories all the time. My family has been victim to that. Okay? And when I say my family, I mean, I've told my story about my friend who was killed. To me, that's family. Okay? And I've heard stories from other people of how illegal migrants have broken the law, either DUI or whatever the case is, no insurance, no license, nothing, no registration, here illegally, and still let go. Why? Because they're protected under sanctuary status. I for the life of me, I cannot understand how the hell that makes sense. That you're protected under sanctuary status, so that means you could commit any damn crime you want? I'm telling you, people, it's just too damn much. But that's what I got. Something really, really quick I want to show you. Just give me a second. Hold on. I couldn't deal with when I lost JJ, so it's been a few months, and I decided to pick up this little pup right here. This is gonna be my new JJ. I know. Just wanted to share that with everybody, since you guys always keep sending me messages, letting me know, how you feel about what's going on. So just wanted to share that with all you guys. This is JJ. He's kind of plumpy, but I gotta run him around and make him lose a little bit of weight. So he's gonna be my new ride or die. That's just the way I see it. But picked him up today from a lady who rescued a dog, and she didn't know. And then lo and behold, the dog was pregnant and had 8 puppies, and he was one of them. This was back in July, so she was giving them, and I made the choice. I miss my JJ too much, and I needed another one. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Also to Crochet Day, I haven't forgotten about the photos that I'm going to send you. Just so if you watch the video, you'll see, and we'll talk some more through email and stuff like that about what we talked about. But I just want to share that with you guys. I want to thank you guys for watching the video. Let me know in the comments what you think, okay? And just keep a close ear to the ground. Don't forget to get out there and vote, because I'm telling you, it looks like what the Democrats are trying to do is basically what everybody's thinking. They're trying to steal the vote, in my opinion, and in the opinions of tens of millions of Americans. Okay, and they're trying to do it with illegal immigrants. Okay, illegal immigrants and whatever else, whatever tricks they have up their sleeve. Okay, but that's what they're doing. These are the lies that they're telling the Americans, and they're basically taking our money and just doing whatever the hell they want to do with it. Okay, that's basically the bottom line. So with that being said, just want to say, stay vigilant, keep praying for each other, keep praying for the women and the children, keep praying for this country, pray for your enemies, pray for Donald Trump, and don't forget to get out there and vote. Peace.